I am joined today by Dr. Raleigh Wright and Stephanie Klein of Lane and Associates. We are so excited to celebrate our partnership with Lane. It's been many years now. And Stephanie, I am curious, why does the Lane family choose to continue to be a mission partner with the Kay Yow Cancer Fund?
When I started almost 5 years ago, we were doing a campaign. I walked into a campaign. It was to raise money for cancer, but yet we had nobody to give the money to. So I knew the Kay Yow Foundation just by name. And once we started building that relationship, we fell in love with the people. We fell in love with their cause. Everything that they did felt warm to us. And it was encouraging and exciting to be able to be a part of that foundation.
What would you say in terms of the culture of Lane and Associates being centered around giving? How do you describe that for other people?
So I would say being in a healthcare field, being in dentistry, we have a blessing to be able to help people every day. We really care about our patients. We love our patients. They're just like family to us, just like our staff. So it's the opportunity to help people on a day-to-day basis with their needs, such as if they're in dental pain, if we're making beautiful smiles, or if we're making it so they can eat better. And our background in dentistry and in helping people just fits very nicely with the Kay Yow Foundation's helping those with cancer and working with the researchers to get the money and the things that they need to help fight this disease.
And that's exactly what we need. And certainly Lane has played an integral part in allowing the Kay Yow Cancer Fund to fulfill its mission in funding that necessary cancer research. You've been to several Kay Yow Cancer Fund events, Dr. Wright. I know in the commercial that we're running this week, we see some really fun pictures of the Lane family participating in different events. Cancer survivors are always recognized. I know your team certainly recognizes the impacts that cancer has on your team members, on your patient family members. What words of encouragement do you have for cancer survivors today?
So I'm not even sure that I'm qualified to really give advice in that area. I think for people to realize that there are a lot of people supporting this cause. There are a lot of people supporting them as cancer survivors. We love them. We care about them. There are great individuals, really smart people that are working on cures and treatments for these cancers. And we're here to support that cause.
Stephanie, Dr. Wright, thank you so much for all you do, not only being here today with us and encouraging our audience, but also for continuing to play an important role as a mission partner with the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. We are so appreciative of your partnership.
Well, thank you very much. It's something that's near and dear to our hearts, and we are very excited to be a part.
We are back for night 2 of our celebration Run Walk event. I'm Jen Hoverstad, Director of Marketing and Engagement for the Kay Yow Cancer Fund, and I'm joined by our CEO, Stephanie Glantz. Steph, it is good to see you on night 2.
I know, it's so exciting. I mean, we had such a great night last night. It was so hard to actually go to sleep because we were so inspired and motivated, and it's just an awesome event. It's an awesome time to get together and lift up survivors and celebrate together. And so we are so excited about tonight's lineup.
And we have some great people in the crowd. Let us know, for those of you that are in the comments, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, let us know you're here. We can see your comments coming through. I see we have some friends. I have a personal friend here, Chris Strub, who's joining us from Greenville, South Carolina. Chris, thanks for showing up tonight. Ivy Gardner, a friend of the fun, former player for Coach Yao, here with us. So thank you for being here. And for those of you that are on teams, we'd love to know what teams you're representing, right?
Absolutely.
We've had a fun month celebrating them.
Yes.
As we're doing each night this week, we are starting tonight with a mission moment. And we're going to start with this mission moment, focusing on one aspect of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund mission. But Steph, why don't you set us up for what our board member, Teresa Barnhill, is going to share with us tonight?
Perfect. So Kay Yow had a vision and set forth the mission of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund, and it is three-pronged. We raise money for research around all cancers affecting women. We also raise money to fund initiatives across the country for underserved women battling cancer. And then the third prong is to unite people. And so happy to say that in just 13 years, the Kay Yow Cancer Fund has given $7.78 million in the fight against all cancers affecting women for all three of those prongs. So Teresa Barnhill, our board member, is going to talk to us tonight about the underserved part of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund mission. Teresa?
Kay Yow's vision was simple: serve underserved women by providing access to preventive cancer care, assistance while undergoing cancer treatment, and hope for a cancer-free future. Since its beginning, the Kay Yow Cancer Fund has worked to provide access to quality cancer health care for underserved women nationwide. The Kay Yow Cancer Fund is working to break down the barriers to cancer health care for underserved women all over our country. These barriers include, but aren't limited to, uninsured and underinsured, delays to treatment, transportation to care, fear or distrust within the health system, distance to care, being forced to choose between their own care and the responsibilities they have for their family setting. Our underserved programs to date include the Hope Lodge in Lubbock, Texas, which provides housing for patients and their families who are undergoing active cancer treatment. The Stevenson Cancer Center, which supports a cancer navigation program to increase access to health care for underserved populations in Oklahoma. Mount Nittany Health supports a cancer navigation program to increase access to health care for underserved populations in rural areas of central Pennsylvania. And UNC Rex Healthcare provides 3D imaging equipment on 2 mobile mammography units that serve under and uninsured women in central North Carolina. The grant to Rex also supports the Angel Fund that provides assistance to women undergoing active cancer treatment. And Tulane Cancer Center, which funds the Enhancing Clinical Trial Awareness and Outreach for Minority Patients in Oncology Research Program. I am very proud and excited to work with Kay Yow Cancer Fund on its underserved programs. I'm excited because we are doing our very best to bring quality cancer treatment and access to that quality cancer treatment to every woman across the country, because we women, we deserve nothing but the best. And I'm also proud. I'm proud because, having lost my own mother to breast cancer, I don't want any other family to have to go through what we did. And I know my mom is proud of the hard work that everyone is doing at Kay Yow to ensure that women across the country have access to programs, to healthcare, to treatment, and even to counseling that they need in order to improve their outcomes. I'm proud, I'm excited, and I'm hoping that all of you would join us on our mission as well. To learn more, please go to kayyow.com.
That's right. We do hope all of you will join us tonight. And if you still need to register for our celebration run walk, it's not too late. You can do it right now at kyow.com, or maybe you'd like to donate to a team. We would appreciate it. And we really do appreciate Teresa sharing just the in-depth look at that part of our mission. But our involvement with board members for tonight doesn't end there. We have a couple of really special board members to bring into tonight's conversation, don't we, Steph?
Absolutely. So this is so exciting. Welcome, LaChina and Debbie. Thank you so much for giving your time. And we are excited about what you'll share with us tonight. Just a brief introduction. So Debbie Antonelli, LaChina Robinson are both ESPN analysts for women's basketball and men's basketball. And their accolades are vast. But here's what I really want to say about the two of them. Debbie actually played for Coach Chao. So she played for Kay at NC State University. Debbie is also a lifetime board member for the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. LaChina played at Wake Forest in the same league as an opponent to Kay Yow at NC State. And LaChina is also a Kay Yow Cancer Fund board member. And so we're just so grateful for your time. We're grateful that you have the passion that you do for the cause. And we're also looking forward to hearing from you personally about your relationship with Kay Yow and how she impacted your lives, how she influenced your lives, and maybe a few funny stories along the way about Coach Chao. So with that, I will turn it over to the two of you and just thank you for being here.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach Glantz, for that introduction. As she mentioned, my name is LaChina Robinson, and I'm excited to be here with you guys today. And especially because I get to be with someone that I look up to, that I admire, and someone who is probably the only person that knows for a fact that my basketball game on the court was cannot even live up to this T-shirt that I have on right now. Debbie used to call my games when I was at Wake Forest, so we go way back. So I'm honored to spend this time with you, Deb, and definitely honored to do it in the name of Coach Chao.
Same here, LaChina. Yeah, we go way back. You and me, we've had a lot of fun together doing our jobs. We do a similar job, so we don't always get to interact as much. So this will be fun tonight. This will be great.
I know. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So my first question for you, and this is in all honesty. So when I played in the ACC, it was always a question of like, what would it be like to play for another coach, right? So it's like, I wonder what it would be like to play for Coach Hatchell. You know, Coach Hatchell was fiery and she would get after it. And, you know, she had her shoulder pads and her, you know, all great. What was it like to play for Gail Geston-Course? Because she looked like she never would get angry. Like she just seemed like she was always very cool, calm, and collect. But what was it like to play for Coach Yow? Because one thing that stands out to me about Coach Yow is she had the softest voice. I was like, she probably never yells at her players or gets upset with them at practice. Like her voice was always so calming to me. But from your perspective, what was it like to play for Coach Yow?
Well, you're absolutely right. Her voice was very quiet, very much of a teacher in a classroom. It was never someone that would be yelling and screaming at us. She never went on a rant or, you know, lost her mind. She would just lose her mind, kind of like, well, y'all, can't we just rebound better? I mean, can't y'all just rebound better? You know, it would be like a rhetorical question that she would pose to us in the locker room as a group. And you know, LaChina, I get a chance to speak about this a lot. It is one of the great privileges of my life that she picked me, you know, and I think that's the attitude that I always had about it. And we as players never wanted to disappoint. So if you can imagine being motivated by trying to do your best because you didn't want to fail, but most importantly, you didn't want to let her down, you know, because she cared so much about us as people. She was invested in the person first before the player. And so for me, I had a 30-year relationship with her because I was a Kay Yow camper. She recruited me. She didn't want me, but eventually she did. And there's a, you know, she taught me a lot about the game. She taught me a lot about life, and her influence is on me and every role I play as a mom with 3 boys, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, all the things that we do. And certainly as a broadcaster, she had an influence on my career. How about you? What?
In hearing you say that, it's interesting because, you know, watching Coach Yow go through her battle, I think all of us wish that we had the kind of time that you had spent with her, or the kind of time that other people had got to spend, or knew her better, or were closer to her. Because, you know, in those moments, because that honestly was probably, I mean, in college, one of the most impactful times of my life, going from, you know, being a college athlete to being in the real world. And I remember vividly the people who impacted me throughout that journey. And so watching Coach Yow go through her battle, I always would say, wow, I wish that I had some time to spend with her one-on-one, because I was in awe of her faith. I was in awe of her courage. I was in awe of her consistency. She seemed to always show up as the same person, the same kind spirit. I hear she had, she was quite the jokester. That's a part of her that I never, you know, got to experience that, but I heard she had a great sense of humor. But, you know, one way that she really impacted my life, I would say, you know, when she was going through her battle with cancer, I was going through my own health battle. And I was afraid. I was a 20-something-year-old young woman at the time who just knew that there was something physically not right with me. You know, doctors were doing their part, but I was a wreck. And I was searching for something or someone to kind of hold on to as a source of inspiration. And Kay Yow was that for me. She's actually on my first vision board that I made in my years of being 20-something. I put her smack dab in the middle because I wanted to be her. I literally wanted to have that level of courage, whatever fight. At that time, you know, it was illness for me. It was illness for Coach Yow. But whatever fight that I would face in life, I wanted to have what I call Coach Yow courage.
Yeah, well, she had a lot of it, and we saw her courageous battle publicly when she was trying to come back her 3rd time from battling cancer. And, you know, when you think about what you saw from her, LaChina, you know, what were some of the things that resonated with you when you were watching her with her public battle with cancer?
Selflessness. I mean, literally thinking, if I was going through the things that Coach Yow was going through, physically, mentally, I mean, the pain she was in with the treatments and everything else, I would try to go somewhere and hide. Like, I don't know that I would be able to face the world. I think I would be feeling sorry for myself. That actually will bring me back full circle to my favorite Coach Yow quote. But the fact that she showed up every day for her players, for her team, for the game that she loved, to serve her passion, despite what she was going through personally, selflessness. I mean, I don't know that I've ever been as connected to a journey of selflessness as I was to what Coach Yow was going through, just watching her right there in front of us. It was very, very, very impactful on my life. What is the most important life lesson you've learned from Coach Yow?
Oh, you know what? I think I feel like I should tell this story right now because you shared something so personal about your experience with Coach Yow. And obviously I already said I had a 30-year relationship with her. So, you know, when you have a relationship with somebody that long, they watch you grow and mature and change, and they see you in different stages of your life. Right. One of the things that I will share with everyone is, you know, of my 3 boys, my middle son has Down syndrome. And when he was born, my husband and I didn't know that he had Down syndrome. So this was at the 1998 Women's Final Four, the first year that Kay Yow and NC State had made the Final Four. It was also the first year that in between the semis and the finals, they were going to have a day off and have a senior all-star game. So I went to the game. I set my stuff down at press row. NC State had played the night before, really got beat badly by Louisiana Tech. And Coach Yow came to the senior all-star game, and it was just blind luck that I set my stuff down, went to talk to somebody. When I came back, she happened to sit down right next to me. At this time, Frankie was about 8 months old. And so she just played in the semifinals of the Final Four. Okay. The first time she had ever experienced that. And it's the day after a really tough defeat. And she says to me, "How you doing? How's it going?" And I said, "Oh, it's going fine." She said, "No, really. How are you doing? How's it going with Frankie?" And I sat there and I just couldn't believe that she was asking me about that. I cried through the whole game, but basically this is the lesson that she taught me. And attitude has everything to do with every situation. And you're going to hear people talk about how it's not what happens to you, it's what what you can control. I can't remember the cliche that is out there. That's one of the things that Coach Chao used to say all the time about, you have 100% control over not what happens to you, but how you handle it. And at that point, she went through what I came to learn was the stages of grief. You nurse, curse, rehearse, reverse the hurt. And so she went through this whole thing with me during the game about how finding out that you have cancer has to be similar to finding out that you have a child with special needs. It's not what you planned for. You didn't understand why. You're upset at first, and then you're mad, and then you look for empathy, and that at some point you're going to make a choice that you are going to be the very best mom of a child with special needs that you can possibly be. Just like for her with cancer, I'm going to beat cancer. I'm going to be the very best cancer patient. I am not going to let cancer take over my life. And that's a life lesson that I have not told very many times publicly. I did use that story once to introduce her late in her battle at the Women's Final Four, because how many times can you say she's in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, 737 wins, 8 different Hall of Fames? How much impact her footprint is all over the game from the very beginning stages to where we are now. And so I use that as an opportunity to introduce my coach, because that is something that, I had been gone for almost 20 years. I think it was like 20 years when that happened, when that conversation happened. Well, 15 years when that conversation happened. And I remember it I will always remember it.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Debbie. And it seems like we have a common thread in that Coach Yow taught us how to fight, right? How to battle.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to be upset about what life throws at you, or are you going to get out and fight? And not only did she obviously share that with you in the conversation, but that's the way she lived, right? It was, things happen to you, but then how are you going to respond to it? And I know for a fact that if it wasn't for her example of courage in my life and faith, I wouldn't have known how to fight. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that we have that common thread. Now, you've gone on to serve on the Kay Yow Cancer Fund board, and you are a lifetime member. What motivates you to serve on the board of directors?
I remember exactly where I was when she called and said, this is what she wanted to do, and would I join? And like Coach Chao, she wouldn't have exactly every detail, but she'd have a general idea of what she wanted to do. And it was mainly, become this classification called the lifer. And that means that my responsibility is to always help along with the other lifers to fulfill her vision. And I love my teammates that are lifers, and I always look at my role as being, I can say this because, if Stephanie needed me to go drink brown liquor and smoke a cigar with somebody, I'd probably be willing to do it if it had something to do with helping the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. That's sort of my role. It's not quite the black sheep, but it's close to that. Like, I'm on the outside, on the periphery. So I try not to get so emotional about some of the things that we discuss, because it is emotional, because we all care. We all have a common bond about how much we loved her. We all have the same desire to beat cancer and help those that are fighting. And so I serve because she asked me to. And my mother-in-law and both my sister-in-laws on my husband's side have all beat breast cancer. So we know how cancer can affect our life. My mother-in-law continues to battle. And I think it's just amazing that she would ask me. And I think I could speak for Connie Rogers Newcomb, who was the other player that she selected. Between the two of us, I don't know if there's been a higher honor that we've been able to serve than what she asked us to do. And So that's how I feel about it. So how about you? I mean, you've been around the game for a long time. You have already mentioned the impact that she's had. Why did you decide that you were willing to join the board now?
Well, first, just let me say that of all the schools that played in the ACC at the time where I was playing, we were the closest to NC State. This was during the Nana Rivers era, Tara Jane. If there was a team we were going to drive down to go see, to go down to the Triangle to go visit, it was always NC State. So I always felt connected to the school, definitely in my heart more than anything. But I mentioned the impact that Coach Yao had on my life, and I will be completely honest with you. I was shocked when Coach Glantz called me and asked if I would serve on this board. Number one, for me to be associated with Coach Yao in any way is an honor. Okay, like that is something that I never saw happening. But then when I see the work that people like you are doing, when I've watched over the years the impact of the Play for K games, you and I working in women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I called the game last night, between Pitt and Notre Dame. And at halftime, Pitt honored a woman that had worked in their athletics department in operations, who was a breast cancer survivor. And you know what it's like. You and I both work in athletic departments, and operations can be a thankless job. And, people sometimes feel like they're unseen behind the scenes of college athletics. But when they brought this woman out to center court, she was completely surprised, in tears. The team was embracing her. Everyone had on their pink. And I was like, look at this moment. We're celebrating this woman winning her battle against cancer. And so I've seen that so many times at these games of survivors standing together and how they can celebrate each other in that space and the money that has been raised. And I'm just like, can I really be a part of that? Like, can I really make a difference? So to join people like you and all of the amazing members of our board of directors was definitely something that's an honor in a way that I could give back. I didn't get a chance to shake Coach Yao's hand and thank her for inspiring me when I needed it the most. And so this is the best way I could think of, is to try to contribute to what was important to her, which was cancer research. And in particular, what we heard from Teresa about serving underserved communities.
Yes.
That is something that is very near and dear, not only to me, but a lot of my Black and brown friends, to my family members, with the lack of equal health care and some of the things that Black women in particular experience in their battles with breast cancer. So to be a part of this very new arm of the board of directors and to make an impact there, along with Nikki Fargas and many others, is something that's really, really important to me.
So, LaChina, the $7.78 million that is working in grants is just unbelievable. It's phenomenal to think about that amount of money right now and what we've been able to do in the battle versus cancer. What do you think, Coach Yao, like in your time and spending with her, like, how do you think she'd feel about the 7.78, or what do you think her attitude would be about what we've done so far?
Oh my goodness. I think she'd be blown away. Like, I think she would be completely blown away. I mean, I can't even imagine how she would feel about the work that has been continued, because I think it's one thing to have an idea and a vision on how you can leave an impact. But I think what you guys have done through the Kay Yow Cancer Fund has far, I'm sure, exceeded what she thought was possible. Not even just the monies raised and the research, but the number of people who know the name Kay Yow and know about her battle and have been a part of a Play for Kay experience or know her because of her fight. I mean, you guys have done a tremendous job, and I can believe that Coach Yao would be very, very, very happy and very humbled by it. What do you think?
Well, I think having participation from the players, the former players, would mean a lot to her, that her group, her 160 were 100% behind it. I think she'd look at the job that Stephanie has done, and she'd be really proud of the leadership and how Stephanie has galvanized all of us to be able to share the message and sell the message and send the message out. Those are all things that I think Stephanie does such a good job of. And I always think about February, because February is the Play for K games, which, we all participate in, but it's also Black History Always, as ESPN has branded it. And it's also National Girls and Women in Sports. We have days or months. I call it the whole month of February. Those three things, I think Coach Yao would be out front and so proud of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund leading, because we are checking the boxes on all of those different initiatives. And I think that is important and powerful and sends the right message about why you should be involved and what you can do by lending your support. And I know she'd be really proud of it. And, you know, the other thing is, like, she always would say, you know, what more can we do? And she did say that all the time. And if you ever listen to Stephanie Glantz is always saying that. And it is true, but it was something that she said when we were working out on the track, or if we were in the weight room, you know, can we do one more rep? Or, you know, that's the way I look at what more can we do? Like, I'm doing this, we do our jobs for ESPN. What's another thing I could do to be prepared? I'm always thinking about what's next. What could we do? And, you know, some of the stories that I have, some of the things that resonate with me about Coach Chao when I think about it, was a 2008 run that we had in Tampa when I got to pedal her around on the rickshaw. And pedaling her around that race was absolutely phenomenal because of the things that people said to her while they were running and the response that she gave back. And there would be something that only I heard because I was the only one, you know, and I know what she meant to all the people that were running in the race and how that carried forward. Or, you know, helping, being responsible for her name going on the court. That is something that's probably what I would consider my greatest athletic achievement in sport. Is my greatest give back to the game and to NC State was to get them to agree that that was the right thing. Those are a couple of stories that I think about. And then the one that I love to tell, and I'm just going to tell this one very quickly, is, you know, I was late once. You know, if you were 5 minutes early, you were on time. If the bus was leaving at 9 o'clock, you needed to be on the bus by 8:45. And at 8:55, you were considered late. And so if you weren't on the bus and ready to go, I was late for strength training. And her teacher background came out because I wasn't the only one that particular Saturday morning that was late. I had a car issue. I don't know what was wrong with the other ones. But for me, I was late, and she made me write 500 sentences. I was late for strength training, and I will strive to be on time for all team functions from this point on, 1 through 500, numbered, no drawing the I and going bang, bang, bang like this down the line. Like, you had to write out the whole thing. And if you didn't, you weren't playing in the next game. And I had like a day and a half to write them. So the reason why I bring that up is because one of the other things, and I see Jen pop up here, so maybe our time's running out because I'll keep talking. And you did warn them about this, LaChina, so I'll give you props for that. But one other thing I want to say is, in the early years of the Hoop for Hope's game, Hoops for Hope, before they became the Play for K, I was leaving the arena with my teammates, and we were all going somewhere, I'm sure on Hillsborough Street. And as we were all leaving the arena, Ina Wiggins, the secretary for Coach Chao forever, since Coach Chao, I don't know when Ina wasn't a part of NC State basketball, but she comes out of the office and she says, hey, and actually it might have been Felicia, but it was either Ina or Felicia or a combination of the two of them, came out and said, hey, do you guys want your file? Now, I have been gone for 25 years. Do you want your file? We're like, what file are you talking about? Oh, yeah, Coach Chao kept a file on every single player. And when I got my file, in my file, along with my 500 sentences, was Christmas cards I had sent her, pictures of the boys, things that I had sent her, a playbook that one of my kids had drawn up, my transcripts, my letter of intent, any notes I had sent her while I was off working in my jobs. She saved everything. She saved all of it. And she saved it on everybody. And it was phenomenal to go back and look at it. And I still have it. And when I look at it, it's like mimeograph paper and it's white out and stuff like that, that people that are listening that are younger wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. But that's back in the microfiche days, I think. But it was really phenomenal that she did that for everyone. And we all have it. And it's just a nice memory to have now, the good and the bad that was in the file, because it wasn't all good. So, but she kept it all, and we were able to collect that. And my teammates that weren't there that day, I collected their file and I did go through it. So I learned some stuff about my teammates.
That is great. So I want to field some questions. We have some questions coming in from Facebook and YouTube. And first, we're going to go with Lindsay Rogers Ross. She says hello to both of you.
Hey.
And she's asking the question, if Coach Yow were here today, what lesson would she be teaching young people given all of today's climate? Such a good question.
Well, I'll go first, LaChina. I think it's all about your attitude. And I know Coach Yow looked at us as people first, not just players. And I think she saw the true essence and the best in each of us. And I think that's the way she would approach today's climate, about the way we treat people and how you talk to people, and your attitude towards people, or your prejudices towards people, or the way you stereotype people. That's not what she was all about. That's not how she would have approached any of this. She would have been about, get your attitude right and treat everyone with respect, and understand that, there are differences in our world and we need to celebrate those, but we also need to learn and we need to listen. That's the way I feel like she would have approached this whole climate that we're in right now.
Yeah, I agree with that, Deb, but I don't know if you guys can see me okay. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues. But I think how she would deal with today's climate goes back to her favorite quote for me, which was, don't wallow in self-pity. You swift your feet and you get out. And there's been a lot of things that have happened over the last year that we could feel pitiful about. We've had a pandemic. We've had a racial uprising happening in our country. So many things, one after another. And there's been a lot of times where I know many of us probably wanted to just wallow in the self-pity of it all and just hope it went away. But I love that Coach Yow in that quote allows us to be sad, because that's a normal feeling, to feel bad, to feel sad. But then you got to get up and you got to do something about it. And, that's what I feel like our country has done and how we've responded to the climate. And that's what I think Coach Yow would want us to do.
Love those answers.
Thanks, Lindsay. Good to hear from you.
Jenny from our team at the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. She's building on how we ended last night with Scotty McCreery singing 5 more minutes. But I do love this question. She said, if you could spend 5 more minutes with Coach Yow, what would you talk to her about?
That's a good one. Well, first of all, I would have an 8-ounce styrofoam cup of black coffee in my hands to have a discussion with her about whatever it would be that we would talk about. I'd probably, I feel like I'd want to know some more basketball. I'd want to just squeeze as much as I could out of her. And I'd also want to tell her how much I love her and how much she meant to me, and how much she means to my family, and thank her for the opportunities that she gave me. Just thank her one more time, to be grateful. And that would take less than an 8-ounce cup of coffee. I say that because, LaChina, you can't believe in practice how much Coach Yow would be in the way. Like, in the way, I'm talking about like under the basket, in the way, in the lane. We're running a fast break drill and she's standing there with an 8-ounce cup of black coffee in the lane, like in the way, on the floor. Sometimes she had flip-flops on and didn't even have sneakers on, so she couldn't dodge. You had to dodge her, But that 8-ounce, that little, that's what I would first would be the 8-ounce styrofoam cup of coffee for sure, to have a 5-minute conversation with her about how much I love her and miss her.
Love that. What about you, LaChina?
I would ask for the file on Debbie. I need some blackmail material. Can I get a copy of the file, please? I'd love that. No, in all honesty, I would just thank her, number one, for the impact that she had on my life. I don't know that people, I feel like everyone's been in a place of desperation, but I was in such a very low place, and her faith and courage pulled me out. So I would just want to thank her, and really just any secrets she'd be willing to offer, as to how she became as strong of a person as she is. How you see someone strong and they had to go through some things to get that kind of strength, to get that kind of courage, to get, to be who they are. Like, I would just want to hear more about her journey and what those moments were that she felt like made her the incredible woman that we all saw.
The other thing too, LaChina, if I may, Jen, is that I just would want Coach Yow to clarify and confirm So there is no more debate or discussion that I am the best non-stat starter in NC State history, which I know since Jenny asked that question, she's always in the running for it along with Kristen Gillespie, but Coach Chao told me that I'm the winner.
Just so we're clear.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. We'll end with this question from one of our honorary co-chairs, Angela Caraway. She wants to know, what are some of the ways you find yourself emulating Coach Yow?
Serve. People ask me all the time, what I think the greatest quality of a leader is. And I have always thought that service was the greatest quality because that's what Coach Yow thought was the greatest quality. And so that's one thing that I try to emulate in her. I have my 3 power words: build, serve, and empower. And a lot of that comes from her. That, build, I want to be somebody who's constructive with my time. I want to be a good servant and serve and help others the best I can. And then if I can build and serve, I think I'll empower others to do the same thing. And that's what we're doing with the Kay Yow Cancer Fund.
I would say humility. I felt like Coach Yow was very humble. She wasn't going to come into the room screaming or trying to be the loudest voice in the room, but she was just going to come in as herself and, wasn't screaming from the mountaintops, all the things that she accomplished, even though she did so many incredible things. So I just loved her humble spirit and trying to follow, that example of humility where I can in my life.
LaChina and Debbie, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for sharing from your heart, from your experiences, all your insight, and just really transparency. We just appreciate this so much. It was so motivational and inspirational, and a window into who Coach Yow really was for you and in each of your lives. And we really, really appreciate you being with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Steph, you're all dolled up. You look great. I mean,
Thanks,
I don't know
Steph.
if you got something going on, but LaChina, I can speak for LaChina on this. I mean, we can caravan around the country. We're ready to go. I mean,
exactly.
Love it.
LaChina probably can play the banjo. I'll play the drums, and we'll just beat the message out, right?
Exactly. All in. Totally. All in. That's awesome.
Thanks for having us. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys.
Yes, thank you. And friends, stay tuned. We have a quick word from UNC Health, one of our presenting sponsors for the Celebration Run Walk. And right after, we're joined by one of our honorary co-chairs to tell a very important and personal story, as well as an exclusive song written just for the Kay Yow Cancer Fund.
You hear that sound? That's all of us cheering and laughing. Everywhere, louder than ever. It's not the past, it's our future. Because we have vaccines, tested, safe, and effective for everyone. Our shot at a better future is here. Get loud, North Carolina. This is our shot.
Steph, it never gets old to me to hear stories about Coach Yow. It feels like her spirit is so much alive when we get to hear Debbie and LaChina share their memories and those just really personal connections with Coach Yow. And I know you, having Coach Yow being one of your best friends, having been a mentor to you and a colleague, how does that make you feel when you get to reminisce like that?
It's always amazing, Jen. Just like you're saying, gosh, I mean, I go all the way back to when I was 13 years old and went to Kay Yow camp first time. And then never knowing that I'd have the opportunity to work alongside of Coach Yow as her assistant coach. And I think it's just when we hear former players and when we hear people talk about even the campers, like for 40 years, we hear people talk about the impact that Coach Yow had on them, had on all of us. It's pretty amazing, because how many people do you meet in your life that have that kind of lasting impact on you? And we just keep hearing it. So it's pretty incredible and just speaks to who Kay Yow was as a human being and how much she gave to others. And so, as we've said many times, the Kay Yow Cancer Fund keeps giving to others. It's so appropriate that while Coach Chao is not with us, her cancer fund continues to make a significant impact in the lives of others.
That is so true. And we can't do it without those of you who are watching. So if you haven't registered for the Celebration Run Walk, or maybe you haven't donated yet, do it now. kyow.com. The link is right at the top of our homepage. And we would love for you to join this event so we can continue to make a difference in the fight against cancers that affect women, which leads me to a question, Steph, because we haven't released this information publicly yet, but we have a goal for the Celebration Run Walk, how much money we're raising. Do you think we could share that right now?
I think we can, Jen. I think it's time. So our goal is $200,000 raised in the Celebration Run Walk this year as a virtual event. And here's the real kicker. We're only $12,000 away. I know. So we have a great opportunity to reach our goal. We have a great opportunity to exceed our goal. Mm-hmm. We just want to thank everyone who is participating as a sponsor, a partner, a run participant, a donor to a run team. We just want to thank everyone for your support of our important, impactful mission. And we want to say, help us get to 200,000. We can do it. We have until Saturday to do that. So please donate. Go to kyow.com, donate now. And we just want you to know that with your help and because of you, the impact of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund will continue and will become more and more significant as we move forward.
That's right. And we're going to close out tonight with two very special friends of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund. We have a special performance by country music artist Josh Martin, who actually wrote a song just for the cancer warriors of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund called You Are Not Alone. It's an incredible acoustic song that he'll be singing coming up shortly. But first, we're going to bring one of our good friends and honorary co-chair, Katrina Cook, back with us tonight. Katrina, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's so good to see you all. It was great listening to them talk earlier, and just to hear the stories of Coach Chao was just amazing.
Mm-hmm. It is amazing, Katrina, and you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you again for being an honorary co-chair. And as we sort of close tonight and we move into Josh singing this meaningful song, I'd just like for you to share the importance of research in your life personally. We have heard you speak. We have talked with you many times about this, but we have a national audience tonight, and we'd love for you to just share, why does research matter to you?
Thanks, Steph. So it's pretty simple why research matters to me. It is very, very literally life or death. Research is the difference in me living and me dying. As many of you know, and I've told my story multiple times, I was 36 years old when I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And that was 9 years ago this past December. I know that the sports people, you're all about statistics. Statistically, my chance of making it for 5 years with a de novo, which means metastatic from the very start, statistically, I only had a 20% chance of making it for 5 years. Well, I've made it 9. So statistically, my 10-year mark, there was less than a 2% chance when I was diagnosed that I could make it that long. Now, when I first started my treatment, it was not a traditional treatment. It was not a first line kind of standard treatment that they did. The oncologist that I had been working on research, and she believed that if she started me on this treatment regimen, that it was the exact right recipe for my cancer, and that it was going to keep me here for a long time. And she took a chance on me, and she was working very hard on this research. And obviously it's going quite well because I'm still on that same line. And while we've had some hiccups along the road, it has kept me there. So what happens when you're metastatic, and I've said this before, but when you're metastatic, you start on your one line of treatment. and you stay on that line of treatment until it stops working. And you get a scan that shows progression of some kind of somewhere in your body, the cancer's growing again, and you move to another treatment and then another. But eventually, that line of treatment is going to run out. So it's not an if, it is a when. It is a guarantee. The treatment line will run out, and there'll be no other options. And I don't want that. I need as many lines. I need a list as long as Santa Claus can make of lines of treatment that can continue to keep me here. Now, I'm very blessed that I have been around to be with my boys. They were only 3 and 6 when I was diagnosed. They're now 13 and 15, and they're athletes, and I'm able to go to their basketball games and watch them play sports. And I got to watch my 15-year-old get his permit, and he can scare me to death as he drives me around town now. And these little milestones that I reach with my kids are all because research got us to this point. And there is a thought that breast cancer, which I know most about because that's what mine is, that breast cancer is cured, that it is curable, and it is not. 114 of my friends die every single day still from breast cancer. And that has just got to stop. And it is not going to stop until research can get us to the point that we can fix this world and we can cancer is no more. And we don't have to have this battle. We don't have to fight this battle, or if we do, we're fighting a chronic battle instead of a life or death battle. So I can't even put into words how important research is and how important what the Kay Yow Cancer Fund is doing, not only in helping to serve the underserved, but in giving funds to cancer research. And there's so many chemotherapy drugs now that cross the lines of different cancers. There's endometrial that cross with lung, and uterine and ovarian that cross with breast. And there's so many different types of treatment that cross the lines of cancers that affect all women. And I know I know the answer's in there somewhere, and I know that we can get to it. And being only $12,000 away from the goal for the run walk is just amazing. And I have no doubt in my mind that is going to happen, and it is going to happen soon. I would love to be able to hop on here tomorrow and say, hey, we've hit our goal and gone over it, because you never know when it's your dollar that tips the scale and makes the difference. There's nothing that is too little when it comes to this. And my life is worth it. My friends' lives are worth it. My children deserve to have their mom here. I mean, they have lived their entire life with a mom with cancer, and they are spectacular children, and I'm so proud of them. But this is the only life that they have known, and they need me here. And my friends' kids need their moms. And my mom, and I know she's listening, my mom needs me here. And we need research to get us to that point. So I'm so thankful for everything that the Kay Yow Cancer Fund is doing. And I'm so thankful that everyone is here to support the Run Walk, and that so much money has been raised already. And if you have not donated, now is the time. It is time to hop on. It is time to donate. It is time to make your stand and stand with us all. And I loved hearing everything that was talked about with Coach Chao tonight, and just hearing how she just cared, and the empathy that she had for people, and the servant's heart. And I can say that everyone that I have dealt with at the Kay Yow Cancer Fund is like that, and that you are all committed to helping us and to keeping us alive and to keeping us here for more birthdays, for more run walks, I can't wait to be at your run walk 10 years from now and be celebrating with all of you. And I know that we will get there, and I know that I can count on everybody, and that the research is coming. It just needs the funding. So I know we're close.
Hey guys, Josh Martin here from the icy and snowy conditions of Nashville, Tennessee in February. So welcome. It's an honor to be asked by the Kay Yow Foundation to to play for you guys tonight. I've got so many incredible women in my life, and knowing that they could be one of the 900,000 every year that's diagnosed with a cancerous disease, it really is a humbling figure and makes you want to help out to such an incredible cause. And so I'm going to play a song that I wrote a couple years ago to help this beautiful foundation out, and I think it's pretty relevant to the times we're living in. It's called You're Not Alone. Clouds in your eyes, the blue just don't shine. Those storms of life keep on coming, but don't hide your tears, let them all fall and wash away all of your fears in my arms. You're not alone, no, I've been there too. I've walked through the darkness that you're walking through, and you're not alone, I'll show you the proof. Long as I'm here, baby, I'm here for you. You're not alone. Just one trick of light can sway your mind into thinking you've run out of hope. But keep your faith in us. The strength of our love pulled me out of the deep when I was sinking. Now it's my time to get you believing that you're not alone. No, I've been there too. Walk through the darkness that you're walking through. You're not alone, I'll show you the proof. Long as I'm here, baby, I'm here for you. And you're not alone. No, you're not alone. There's a whole world out there looking for someone to care. They're praying for answers to all of their questions. Come up empty-handed, lost in depression. All of them praying, all of them hoping, all of them longing to hear. You're not alone. No, I've been there too. I've walked through the darkness that you're walking through. You're not alone, I'll show you the proof. Long as I'm here, baby, I'm here for you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Who is cold? Thank you, guys.
How special. What an amazing way to end our evening together, friends. Thank you for being here on night 2 of our celebration run walk. A big thank you to Debbie and LaChina for sharing their stories, for Katrina for sharing her very personal journey with cancer, and for Josh for playing that beautiful song. We really do appreciate everyone, both on screen and off in the comments. Steph, we have some exciting things to talk about tomorrow as well.
We do, Jen. I mean, we're looking forward to another night of live programming, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're just grateful for all of those who are joining us. And we just, I just think about just our first 2 nights. And then I think about what's coming up. And we just appreciate the passion and the servant's heart that so many people have to support the Kay Yow Cancer Fund and support the lives of others and impact the lives of others. And really, we're just grateful, and our cup is overflowing. So thank you to all of you who are supporting us. And we ask you to tune in tomorrow night.
That's right. Tomorrow, we will continue our conversations about the mission of the Kay Yow Cancer Fund, and we will highlight a couple's journey on cancer with cancer treatment. Joe and Jessica Giglio will be joining us, and we will have a special interview with Scotty McCreery. So be sure you tune in again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, YouTube and Facebook. And we look forward to seeing you then. As Steph said, we can't do this without your support, as well as without the support of our partners and sponsors. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, my name is Laura Bunn, and I'm the Triangle Market President for First Horizon Bank. First Horizon Bank and First Horizon Foundation are honored to play a role in our community, and we look for partnerships with organizations that make an impact like the Kay Yow Foundation. We are grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the annual Kay Yow Run Walk celebration. Last year, we were excited to be a part of the in-person event and paint the tunnel pink for the survivors and their families. It was so touching to hear the stories of how the Kay Yow Foundation has impacted so many. My team and I felt a great sense of admiration for those touched by this organization, and I left last year's event knowing that we wanted to continue our partnership. And my team and I wish that we could be with you in person for the Run Walk. However, in an effort to keep everyone safe, the First Horizon team will be walking and running virtually over the next month. I hope you will join us.
The 2021 Kay Yow Cancer Fund Celebration Run Walk is made possible by the following corporate partners.